Have you ever noticed how some conversations can seem boring at first, but suddenly take a surprising turn? That's exactly what happened when Shen Wenlang met Gao Ming, Gao Tu's father. At first, the conversation was painfully ordinary. Gao Ming's questions were simple and uninteresting. He asked about Gao Tu's salary and why he had decided to leave his job. Shen Wenlang, being the calm and composed man he is, handled it absent-mindedly. His attention wasn't fully there. He wasn't worried about these small details. But then, something changed. Gao Ming casually mentioned Gao Tu's love life. And that's when Shen Wenling's focus snapped into sharp clarity. Gao Tu is a quiet guy. He's never been popular, not even as a child.
I was really surprised to hear you went on a date, Gao Ming said casually, crossing his legs and leaning back.
Shen Wenlang, who had been sitting with his arms crossed, leaning slightly forward, suddenly asked, "Do you know he is dating someone?" Gao Ming replied without hesitation, "Yeah, I only found out recently. But judging from your expression, Boss Shen, it seems like you've known for a while." He studied Shen Wenlang carefully, trying to catch any crack in his composure. And in that moment, a strange thought started to form in Gao Ming's mind. All night, he had been thinking about this meeting. Why would Shen Wenlang, such an influential and wealthy man, call him personally about a former employee? It didn't make sense. What could possibly be so important that a man like Shen Wenlang would personally contact someone who had just quit? Gao Ming couldn't figure it out at first. But then, during the meeting, he noticed something. When the conversation touched on Gao Tu's dating partner, Shen Wenling's reaction was unusually tense. That small, subtle change in expression made Gao Ming pause and think. A wild, almost absurd idea began to form in his mind. Could it be possible that Shen Wenlang was the alpha who got Gao Tu pregnant? The more Gao Ming thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. He quickly called the doctor who had treated Gao Tu. He spent the entire afternoon reviewing medical records. Through careful observation, he learned that Gao Tu had indeed been with an alpha who had a strong reaction to omega pheromones. Everything started to make sense. Shen Wenling's excessive concern about Gao Tu's whereabouts, his unusual attention to details about Gao Tu's partner, all of it now seemed suspiciously meaningful. Gao Ming, trying to hide his excitement, opened his phone. Pretending to check his messages, he secretly typed in a search, "Shen Wenlingophobia." And just as he expected, gossip media popped up with the relevant information. Gao Ming felt a wave of certainty and thrill wash over him. He was convinced. Shen Wenlang was the alpha who had gotten Gao Tu pregnant. And if that was true, the possibilities were enormous. Gao Ming's heart raced. Gao Tu had always seemed quiet and unremarkable, an inconspicuous beta who didn't attract attention. But now he realized that his child could carry the heir to unimaginable wealth. He imagined the future, the opportunities. Gao Tu was not just any omega, he was an omega who could get pregnant. And he had done so with a wealthy, powerful alpha. Gao Ming's mind raced with the thought of what this could mean for him and his family. Until now, he had underestimated his child. That dull, shy young man had been hiding a secret power, a secret that could change everything. But despite his excitement, Gao Ming knew he couldn't act recklessly. This was delicate. The situation required caution. If he made a single mistake, the chance to secure this golden opportunity could slip away in an instant. He had to be careful, patient, and strategic. Meanwhile, Shen Wenlang was not particularly impressed with Gao Ming. He found the man's dress and manners improper and annoying. And as if that weren't enough, Gao Ming had asked Shen Wenlang to wait an entire hour before the meeting. Shen Wenlang frowned. He was the kind of man who valued punctuality, efficiency, and respect. Yet here he was, sitting in a luxurious office, forced to wait. It was frustrating. Gao Ming, on the other hand, seemed completely unconcerned. Half an hour before the scheduled meeting time, he left the table, claiming he had something to do outside. "Boss Shen, please sit down." "I'll be there soon," Gao Ming said casually as he left, clearly aware of Shen Wenlang's displeasure. Shen Wenlang, who rarely lost his composure,
now felt a spark of irritation.
If Gao Ming weren't Gao Tu's father, Shen Wenlang might have reacted far more aggressively. But he swallowed his anger and waited patiently, though inside he was silently fuming. At the same time, Gao Ming's anticipation grew. He could almost hear his own heart pounding. Every passing minute brought him closer to realizing his plan, closer to the potential fortune that could change his life overnight. He had always thought Gao Tu was just a quiet, unremarkable beta. But now, the truth was staggering. Gao Tu was an omega, and one who had become pregnant with the child of a wealthy alpha. Gao Ming's imagination ran wild. How had he been so blind all these years? How had he not seen that his child, quiet and clumsy as he seemed, was actually holding the golden ticket of a lifetime? But he reminded himself to stay calm. This wasn't a time for rash decisions or careless words. The stakes were too high, and one wrong move could ruin everything. He needed to be strategic. He needed to play his cards carefully. Shen Wenlang's attention, on the other hand, was laser-focused. His usually composed expression had hardened, his mind alert to every word, every subtle hint. He was ready to confront the situation, to protect what mattered to him most. Gao Tu. The tension in the room was palpable. Two very different men, each with their own intentions, were now in a silent standoff. Shen Wenlang, poised and intimidating, versus Gao Ming, ambitious and calculating. Minutes stretched. The clock ticked ever closer to 12:30, the scheduled time for Gao Tu's arrival. Each second felt heavier, charged with expectation. Gao Ming, practically vibrating with anticipation, couldn't help but imagine the possibilities. The more he thought about Shen Wenlang's reactions, the more certain he became of his theory. Shen Wenlang was deeply involved, more than anyone could have guessed.
And this involvement meant wealth, power, and influence.
All of it, potentially, at Gao Ming's fingertips. But he had to be careful. Shen Wenlang was clever, observant, and not easily fooled. One wrong move, one slip, and the opportunity could vanish like smoke. Shen Wenlang, meanwhile, sat with his arms crossed, barely concealing his irritation at Gao Ming's antics. The clock's hands moved steadily, each tick a reminder that patience was running thin. His focus, however, was not on the trivial matters of etiquette or punctuality. It was on Gao Tu and the delicate, complicated situation unfolding before him. Finally, the door opened. Gao Tu was about to arrive, and with him the next chapter of this tangled, high-stakes story. Gao Ming straightened, trying to hide his excitement, while Shen Wenlang's sharp gaze never wavered. Both men knew that this meeting could change everything, and neither of them was prepared for how much their lives and Gao Tu's life would be impacted by what was about to unfold. This was no ordinary meeting. This was the moment where secrets, suspicions, and ambitions collided. And in that tension-filled room, every glance, every word, every pause carried weight. As the clock struck 12:30, Gao Tu stepped into the room. Time seemed to stretch, the air thick with anticipation. Gao Ming's mind raced, Shen Wenlang's eyes narrowed, and Gao Tu, calm on the outside, was the center of this intricate, high-stakes dance. Every detail mattered now. Every move would be noticed. Every decision could tip the balance. And one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The story of Gao Tu, Shen Wenlang, and the ambitious Gao Ming was just beginning to heat up. Secrets were being revealed, strategies were forming, and the path ahead was fraught with tension, emotion, and high stakes. For viewers following along, this scene is a perfect example of suspense, drama, and the complex dynamics that ABO Desire delivers in every chapter. It's a story of family, ambition, and the intricate balance between personal desire and social expectations. And as Gao Tu finally meets Shen Wenlang face-to-face, the real question remains: how will this meeting change the relationships, the power dynamics, and the lives of everyone involved? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the drama and intrigue of ABO Desire, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more voiceover adaptations. Hit the notification bell so you never miss the next chapter or behind-the-scenes insights into your favorite stories.